Welcome to the Will and Aaron Show with William Kramer, my co-host Aaron Bontrager. We cover local sports, including the NIC and NLC conferences, plus teams in St. Joseph and Elkhart counties. We also cover college and pro sports. Today we will recap high school football week 5 and preview week 6. Discuss big things happening in the college football world. Talk about the NFL as well as the Major League Baseball and the South Bend Cubs playoffs. So let's start off with topic number 1, high school football week 5 recap. And Penn beat Elkhart in a much highly anticipated game, 21-20. This game, Aaron, did not disappoint. Each team's defense scored in the first quarter. Penn returned a fumble, and Elkhart returned an interception. Elkhart would score the next 13 points to take a 20-7 lead early in the third quarter. Things were looking very good for the Lions. Hauser scored on a 7-yard touchdown run. Ross had a 42-yard scamper. And however, 3 turnovers and an extra point miss proved costly for Elkhart as Penn would come back in the second half for this huge win. Penn will likely win the NIC conference with New Prairie, their toughest opponent remaining on the schedule.
Wow, Elkhart was so close. Man, that's tough. Tough way to lose with those turnovers and extra point missed.
They say defense wins championships, and in this case, Marion forced 4 turnovers, including 2 interceptions by defensive back Bryant Boltnick. Lassane scored from a yard out in the second quarter. Adams had to feel like they let this one go, Aaron, as they had over 300 yards passing, moved the ball in the Knights, but had to settle for field goals. And that just wasn't enough as Marion wins this game 7-6. The Eagles, however, did have a 40-yard field goal attempt that would have won the game for Adams, but that went wide left.
And another tight game, unfortunate for Adams, just like Elkhart. Yeah, it's good to. I'm sure Marion needed this win, so what a game.
Absolutely, a huge win for Marion as they look to gain some more momentum here in the second part of the season as they enter the playoffs. Jimtown, they're on a little bit of a roll here. They beat Bremen 35-17. We knew Bremen struggled with stopping the run all season. It was not a surprise. And, of course, Jimtown took advantage, rushing for over 350 yards, led by Sam Garner and Connor Watts. Bremen's Leidig, Moser, and Graverson did what they could to keep the Lions in the game. But their defense just couldn't stop Jimtown when they needed to. The Jimmies did have a few miscues and turnovers that kind of kept this game closer longer than it probably should have been. Overall, Coach Stoner pleased with the team's improvement, and Jimtown took another step toward repeating as NIC North-South Divisional champs.
350 yards, that's a lot of yards. Wow.
It is, and credit to the Jimtown offensive line for creating those holes for the running backs there. The West Noble 33, Fairfield 7. Aaron, I got this prediction wrong. I just did not see this coming. I thought Fairfield was really playing well. Just a disappointing game for the Falcons. West Noble controlled the line scrimmage in this blowout win. Fairfield scored at the end to avoid the shutout. The Chargers ran the ball for 267 yards. It was 20-0 at halftime. And a West Noble touchdown in the third quarter put this game out of reach.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same, that Fairfield's on a roll here. But, hey, man, this loss will do them good for later in the season. All right, moving on to the NLC. Well, my perfect streak of predictions is no more, with Northwood beating Warsaw 42-21 in an interesting game. I got to watch this one after it was over. Got to watch the replay. I thought it could go either way. However, the Panthers brought more physicality and emotion into this one. It showed up in the trenches on both sides. The Tigers started fast, however, in the first quarter, but the Panthers settled down from a couple penalties and a turnover. And then from there on out, the Panthers just kind of took control of the game. Another solid performance from their defense. They were able to get a push. The linebackers swarmed the ball, led by Evan Ethers, and the secondary also did its job. They pursued the perimeter option, ball carriers. Yeah, it was just a really disciplined defensive effort. And not to mention, Northwood showed they could score in a bunch of different ways. Kind of their do-it-all back. Wes Yoder had a huge game. Had over 100 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdown catches, that is. Yeah, the wide receiver duo, Payne and Tuggle, kind of got all the attention, and Northwood was able to exploit that. And also, not to mention their tight end, Parker Philly. Man, he looks like a D1 athlete, too. He caught 2 touchdown passes. Yeah, then... So Owen Rader, my bad, had another 4 touchdown passes in this one. Quite the all-around game for Northwood.
Wow, what a huge win for the Panthers. Got to give credit where credit is due, and that's Northwood for really an impressive win against 6A Warsaw, well-coached Curtis team. If you're Northwood, you got to feel pretty good going into, their next big game. Northwood is now number 5 in 4A. Aaron, you know who number 6 is in the AP poll?
I don't.
Actually, I'm mistaken. They're actually tied. Northwood and Prairie are tied for 5th in 4A.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Next game is the Northridge Goshen game. Northridge won 32-10. Goshen was leading at half again. Seems like a recurring theme with the Red Hawks. They open up pretty solid, but Northridge would score 20 points to Goshen 0 in the second half. Injuries and depth are disadvantages that the Red Hawks will have to overcome, which isn't not unlike other teams, but I feel like this team is hit pretty hard with injuries with some key linemen. In this one, the Raider defense was able to pressure and contain the Red Hawks quarterback, Bechtel, and the Raiders kind of took over through the air in this one. The Red Hawks did a pretty good job stopping the run, but Cade Carrington and the Raider receivers were able to kind of take this game over. He had 4 touchdown passes on the night. Next, we have Concord 16, Wawasee 0. This one, all Minutemen for the most part as far as scoring. And the defense kind of led the way. Got their second shutout win of the season. The Minutemen would score 2 touchdowns on the ground. Quarterback Hudson Glantz had a 35-yard scamper in the first quarter. Or scamper, that is. Then Shannon Wellsmore scored on a goal line run in the fourth quarter to kind of officially put the game away. Yeah, so Wawasee, they're battling, but Concord just too deep on defense. And the last one, no surprise, Mishawaka 136-7 over Plymouth. Came and took care of business before the toughest stretch of their conference seasons. season, as they will travel to Warsaw, and then they host Northwood in 2 weeks from now. Ethan Bryce and Novell Williams led the Cavemen with 2 rushing touchdowns apiece. They are now 5-0 on the season and tied with Northwood at the top of the NLC standings. All right, let's preview Week 5, and I will start with the NLC. I'm going to go with Northwood to start 5-0, traveling to Plymouth, who's 0-5. The Panthers will move to 6-0, potentially gain sole control of the NLC standings, depending on what happens in Warsaw. The Panthers may not have their do-it-all senior Caden Lone, but that won't have a huge impact this week. It'll be interesting to see. He tweaked his ankle, how bad that is. Northwood is playing well in all 3 phases of the game. I think it probably playing some of the best football in the northern part of the state, given their competition, of course. Next, we have Wawasee, 1-4, traveling to Northridge, who's 2-3. This is a game the Raiders should win. It might be interesting, but the Raiders played up to their potential in the second half against Goshen, and the Warriors face a tough task in stopping a pretty balanced Raider offense. Goshen, 1-2, travels to Concord, square off with the longtime rivals. Concord's defense has not given up more than 16 points since Week 1. The Minutemen D is strong and deep. I think they will continue to manufacture enough points to beat the Redhawks. And then the big game of the week for the NLC, the TV 46 game of the week as well. Mishawaka 5-0, traveling to Warsaw, who's 4-1, 2-1 in the conference. Yeah, Warsaw's coming off that disappointing loss. I know that they played well for a quarter against Northwood, and then they kind of just came up flat there, kind of outplayed. Mishawaka is undefeated and has only been pushed in 1 game this year. Warsaw has an early 2-0 series lead since the Cavemen have joined the NLC. Both teams are looking in a mirror. As I look at some of their stats, both score around 35 points a game and only give up around 12 or less points a game. Man, I think this is a battle to the end. I think I'm gonna go with Warsaw bouncing back in this one, but I could see Mishawaka getting a good win here as well. Yeah, this one's tough.
Wow, Aaron going with the Tigers and what would be an upset against Mishawaka. All right, that's a huge statement right there, Aaron. So I'm going to look at Fairfield and Angola. Okay, Fairfield is 4-1, 0-1 in the NECC conference. Angola is 3-2 and 2-0 in the conference. Aaron, Angola could easily be 5-0. Their 2 losses were narrow losses. The Hornets are led by their do-it-all quarterback Tyler Call. Leads the team in rushing. Fairfield struggled to get their rushing game going last week against West Noble. Angola actually beat West Noble 26-7. I like Angola in this NECC conference game. We have... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a big game for both teams, really. Man, I feel like Fairfield's going to bounce back, but I don't know a lot about Angola, so should be an interesting game.
So Riley and Washington in this big city game, really it's the battle for second place at TCU School Field. Riley is balanced on offense, led by their sophomore quarterback, Austin White, and their junior running back, Dominic Jolly. Washington is one-dimensional, and if they can't run the ball successfully, they're going to be in trouble. Washington is getting healthier as last week they got their starting quarterback, Devin DeVries, back. This is a big game for both programs. I think Riley is the favorite going into this game, but Washington at home, they're going to be ready to play and will make the Wildcats earn everything they get. Unfortunately, got to go against my employer here. I'm going to go with Riley in a huge win here. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about college football.
You can listen to the Will and Aaron Show podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube and like our videos. Follow us on Twitter at Will Aaron Show. You can follow the Will and Aaron Show Facebook page where you can interact by commenting, liking, sharing, and reviewing our podcast.
Well, welcome back to the Will and Aaron Show. Our next topic, college football headlines. Of course, we got to start off with Notre Dame's win against Cal. Notre Dame 24, Cal 17. Marcus Freeman gets his first win as the head coach of Notre Dame. Drew Payne, in his first start of the season, threw for 2 touchdowns, and the defense came up big at the end to secure the win. Notre Dame had a scoop and score with 3 seconds remaining in the game, only to have it called back because of a targeting penalty. Then they had to survive a Hail Mary that was actually nearly caught by Cal. This was a much-needed win for the Irish. I like Audric Estime, Aaron. He's a running back. He's a load. He's a sophomore. I actually would like to see him get more carries in the future. Notre Dame is good when they play great defense, can run the ball, and they pass efficiently, and they're going to need to do that in the following games here. Indiana 33, Western Kentucky 30. I didn't have a great feeling going into this game. Western Kentucky put a huge scare in IU last year. It wasn't pretty, but IU is somehow 3-0, Aaron. What did you know? IU 3-0.
Yeah, I'll take it. Didn't see it coming.
IU once again fell behind early and needed a stellar second half. Connor Bezelik threw for 364 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cam Camper had 93 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. Cam Jones continues to lead the IU defense with 13 tackles and 7 solo. The player of the game may have been IU kicker Charles Campbell. He went 4 for 4 on field goals, including the 51-yard game winner in overtime. Okay, let's move on to the Syracuse and Purdue game. This was quite the game. There were 5 lead changes. Purdue amassed 485 yards compared to Syracuse 306. A costly pick 6 towards the end of the game gave the Orangemen a 25-15 lead with 8:08 in the fourth quarter. However, Purdue battled back to go up 29-25 with 51 seconds remaining. 2 unsportsmanlike penalties provided Syracuse with good field goal position. More penalties gave the 'Cuse an opportunity to win at the end of the game. With seconds remaining, Syracuse connected on a 25-yard touchdown pass. A tough way to lose if you're Purdue. Syracuse wins the game 32-29. This one's gonna hurt for the Boilers.
Yeah, what is it with this Syracuse against teams from Indiana? I mean, they got our number. They beat our football teams, seems like every few years. Then you go back to IU basketball in the tournament. It's just, can we beat Syracuse at something?
So that's a good question. Hopefully in the future, IU and Purdue and these other Indiana teams turn the corner against Syracuse here. Notable scores in the college football world. Penn State goes on the road down in the South, beats Auburn 41-12. How about that, SEC? Wow, big win for the Big Ten, big win for the Nittany Lions, and they just ran the ball and outplayed Auburn. Oregon 41, BYU 20. Wow, after what BYU did to Baylor, I think a lot of people were hoping this would be a closer game, and it was just not that. And Oregon dominated BYU. This was a huge win for the Pac 12. Speaking of the Pac 12, they got another signature win as Washington downs Michigan State 39-28. So kind of a breath of fresh air if you're a Pac-12 fan. Two big wins for two signature programs in the Pac-12.
Yeah, Michael Penix, the former IU QB, is now at Washington.
Yeah,
It's kind of crazy.
And he actually performed pretty well in this game. So we are going to do some college picks like we do for high school, and we're going to keep track of our college picks. This is brand new, so we're starting this week. Aaron, why don't you start off with the first one?
All right, so at 12 p.m. on ABC, Clemson visits Wake Forest. Both teams are 3-0. Tigers are a 7-point favorite. And this seems like I'm going to go with Clemson in this one.
I think that's a safe bet, Aaron.
I got an easy one to start.
But Wake Forest last year has really turned around their program. So this is kind of an intriguing game for me. Like I want to actually watch this game. Hopefully it's a good game. We'll see. 3:30 on CBS. Florida 2-1 at Tennessee 3-0. Tennessee is a 10-point favorite. Just feels like Coach Heupel has a volunteer program finally heading in a good direction. I know the volunteer fans have been long waiting for this program to turn the corner. Interestingly, though, Tennessee has not beaten Florida since 2016. However, I'm taking Tennessee. I think they get this win at home.
Ooh, I like that one.
3:30 also. There's a couple of good games at 3:30 here. Notre Dame 1-2 at North Carolina 3-0. The Irish are a 1-point favorite. The last time I checked, that might have changed by the time the game starts. However, this really is a battle between North Carolina's offense and Notre Dame's defense. I guess the big question is, what's North Carolina's defense going to do, and what's Notre Dame's offense going to do? Who can prove to do better? I don't know, Aaron. I don't have a good feeling about this. I'm actually going to pick North Carolina. They're at home. They got a better offense. I just don't trust Notre Dame's defense so far. I need to see more out of them to feel better about that. So I'm going to go against the spread and pick against my beloved Irish. Sorry for our viewers. They're probably going to be upset. But I'm going with the Tar Heels at home to get the win.
Wow, okay. I think I'm gonna pick Notre Dame, but I'm not super confident in that one.
Okay, another 3:30 game on ESPN2. Our surprising Hoosier 3-0 at Cincinnati 2-1. Cincinnati is, last time I checked, is a 14.5 point favorite. You know what? I think IU's run wins probably ends here. Cincinnati, a year fresh off of having played in the college football playoff, they are still a solid team. Luke Fickell is a great coach. Is at home. I don't think IU has played consistently enough to win a game like this on the road. I think Cincinnati wins the game. IU might hang around for a little bit, but I think eventually Cincinnati will wear IU down and get this win at home.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that too. Cincinnati should win this one. Then we got at 7 p.m. Arkansas. 3-0 versus Texas A&M Arlington. Texas A&M is a 2.5 point favorite. Oh, is this game in Arlington? In the big.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. This is a big time game, and I'm gonna go with Texas A&M. I think they have the pedigree for this one.
Interesting call there, Aaron. So I do the ESPN pick'em, college football pick'em, and the last time I checked, I'm 20-10. So I need to get better at that. I picked Arkansas. I like the Arkansas coach. I think Sam has done a great job turning this program around, and it just feels like I don't trust Texas A&M. I mean, with the whole loss to App State, I mean that kind of like threw me off. Like Texas A&M, you recruit really well, but then you have these weird losses. I just don't understand. I'm gonna go with Arkansas to beat the spread here.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I think they'll bounce back, but yeah, it should be interesting to see who wins this one.
Let's move on to topic 4. NFL headlines. The Indianapolis Colts surprisingly, in a stunning fashion, lose to Jacksonville 24-0. An embarrassing loss. They're now 0-1-1. The Colts were outplayed in all phases of the game. Trevor Lawrence threw 2 touchdown passes, and the Jaguars' defense harassed Matt Ryan pretty much all game long. A disappointing start to the season, as many NFL experts had Indianapolis 2-0 to start the season. The Colts return home in Week 3 to play a dangerous Kansas City Chiefs team. Indianapolis is in a must-win game, as only 3% of teams in NFL history have started the season 0-3 and actually made a playoff. That's a total of 6 teams.
Yeah, that shocked me. I didn't really watch much of it, but when I saw the score, I'm like, wow. Rough time for Colts fans right now. All right, so not too much better in Chicago. Chicago falls to 1-1 after losing to Green Bay on Sunday night, 27-10. Packers outgained the Bears by almost 200 more yards. And the time of possession was all Green Bay at just over 37 minutes compared to Chicago's 22 minutes of having the ball. And then, not to mention, Chicago had only 48 yards passing total. Nothing really new in this rivalry. Same movie, same ending every time. But things did look a little hopeful early on. The Bears took an early 7-3 lead on their opening drive after Green Bay kicked a field goal. The 71-yard drive ended with a Justin Fields touchdown run, but after that, Green Bay kind of took control. Chicago made it somewhat of a game when they had a 4th and goal that was overturned by replay. Kind of a questionable call. Many people think that Justin Fields broke the plane for a touchdown. That would have cut the game to 1 score, but it is what it is. Packers get another win against the Bears.
And Aaron Rodgers' mastery of the Bears continues. Let's look at some other NFL headlines here. Tua Tagovailoa threw for 6 touchdowns, a career best for him, over 450 yards, as the Dolphins remain unbeaten, defeating the Ravens 42-38.
And then Cooper Rush, the 5th-year quarterback out of Central Michigan, go Chippewas, led the Cowboys to a big win over Cincinnati. The Bengals are apparently in a Super Bowl hangover as they start the season 0-2.
Justin Herbert outplayed Mahomes, but the Chiefs come back late to win 27-24 in the AFC West showdown. It was a huge win for Kansas City.
And the Cardinals needed overtime to beat the Las Vegas Raiders 29-23 to notch their first win of the season. and the Raiders dropped to 0-2.
Some of the biggest can't-miss games for this Sunday at 1 o'clock on CBS. It's the 2-0 Kansas City Chiefs at the 0-1 Indianapolis Colts. The Colts secondary is going to be tested in this game as Mahomes and their explosive offense and wide receivers and obviously Kelsey, tight end, are going to pose a threat. Taylor needs to be a factor to open things up for Matt Ryan in the passing game. The lack of execution is a concern, has to be a concern for Coach Wright. I imagine the Colts will be locked in for this must-win game to try to resuscitate their season and try to bring some hope back to the fan base. I'm not sure the Colts can hang with the Chiefs' offense. I'm expecting a better showing from the Colts, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough.
Yeah, that's a tough one. At 1 o'clock at CBS, the Houston Texans 0-1 visit Soldier Field to take on the Bears, who are 1-1. A game the Bears can win pretty much. The Texans have hung around with teams that are better than them on paper. They tied the Colts in Week 1, which we all pretty much know. And then they hung with the Broncos in Week 2. Houston's kind of a similar team to Chicago in that they have similar struggles on offense. This game will be pretty much who can manufacture touchdowns. That's the team that's going to win.
Well, we'll see if the Bears can do it. At 1 o'clock on CBS, the 1-0, actually now 2-0 because they won tonight on Monday Night Football. 2-0 Buffalo Bills at 2-0 Miami Dolphins. Might be the game of the week for the NFL. This is a big game.
Mm-hmm.
Battle for the AFC East. Miami is playing well, especially on offense. Can they hang with the king of the AFC? We'll see. We will learn a lot about this Miami football team and how good they are against one of the best teams in the NFL.
And then the afternoon or the late afternoon slots, 4:25 p.m. on Fox, we have the LA Rams at Arizona Cardinals. Important NFC West game. Both teams are 1-1 and looking to get another divisional win. Kind of a tough division. I think it's pretty even balanced division. So another crucial game that could have some impact in the future.
4:25 p.m. on Fox. The 1-1 Green Bay Packers at 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All you need to know, folks, is two names: Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Two legends going at each other. Interesting stat here: Tom has won 3 out of 4 matches against Aaron. Green Bay receivers are young. Rodgers has been patient with their growing pains. This is going to be Tampa Bay's season opener. Fans are going to be ready for this big game, for this showdown here.
And then Sunday night at 8:15 p.m. on ESPN and ABC is Dallas, who's 1-1 at the New York Giants, 2-0. The Giants have pulled out 2 close games coming into this one. The Cowboys beat the AFC champs and the Cincinnati Bengals without Dak. A rivalry game and a good one to end Week 3.
All right, we're going to take a short break, and when we return, we're going to talk about the Sopping Cubs and also Major League Baseball. If you are enjoying our podcast and want to donate, please find the donation link in our show notes. Any donation, no matter how small, will make a big difference in helping us bring you better quality podcast shows. Welcome back to the Will and Aaron Show. We are going to talk about the South Bend Cubs. The Cubs took Game 1 in South Bend 2-1, rallying in the 8th inning. This was their divisional opening game. Cedar Rapids won Game 2 5-3 at their place. Also at Cedar Rapids was the rubber match where the Cubs won 9-3 to advance to the Midwest League Championship game against Lake County. In Game 1 in the championship, Lake County takes down the South Bend Cubs 11-8. So Game 2 is Tuesday, and if necessary, Game 3 is on Wednesday at Lake County. Now, at the time of this recording, they haven't played yet, but when you listen to this, they will have already probably played these games. The South Bend Cubs last won the Midwest League in 2019, so we'll see if they can win 2 in a row and reclaim the title. Okay, and topic 6, our last one of the episode, we're going to talk Major League Baseball. The divisional champions, there's been 2 crowns so far. The American League West, Houston Astros, and the National League West, Los Angeles Dodgers. Of course, the Dodgers, one of the hottest teams in baseball. Houston, one of the hottest teams in the American League. Could that be a preview of the World Series, the Astros and Dodgers? What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, it seems like they're on a collision course. I'll have to get caught up on just trends of the season, but I don't know. There's always seems like there's one team that kind of surprises in the postseason.
Well, one of those surprises could be maybe Cleveland, the Mets, who knows, St. Louis. So let's look at the divisional leaders right now. That as the time of this recording, they have not won their division. But the AL East, Yankees, they're currently in the lead against Toronto Blue Jays. I don't anticipate the Blue Jays overcoming the Yankees in this division. Maybe they make it tighter towards the end, but I think the Yankees will eventually win this division. The AL Central, the Cleveland Indians, I'm sorry, the Guardians, not the Indians, the Guardians. They have a lead over the Chicago White Sox. I also don't see Cleveland losing that. The NL East, this is might come down to the wire. The Mets and the Braves have been in a back. Well, I shouldn't say back and forth. The Mets have been winning the division for a while, but Atlanta actually recently overcame the Mets for just a little bit. But then the Mets are now winning the division. So I don't know. Might go down to the last. I kind of hope it does go down to the last day for this division. I think it's good for baseball when the competition is tight as this one is. It's just good for the fans. And then the NL Central, the St. Louis Cardinals, they have a pretty healthy lead over the Brewers, and I anticipate they wrap up the division soon. Let's take a look at the wild card race in the American League. Right now, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Seattle, all in good shape to enter the wild card. Baltimore right now has some work to do to get into that conversation. In the National League, you got Atlanta, San Diego, and the Phillies. The Brewers, they're not too far behind. This might be a race to watch as we enter the final 2.5 weeks here with Phillies and the Brewers.
Yeah, interesting. Baltimore surprises me, but I'll be honest, I haven't followed baseball really yet, so Baltimore seems like didn't expect to see their name in this.
So I will say this: we have to mention Albert Pujols' race to 700 home runs.
Yeah.
Like I did not see him having the season that he's had, and I think this is great for baseball. I know I'm a Cubs fan. And so, rooting for any Cardinals is can't even believe I would do that. But I like Albert. I kind of hope that he gets the record this year. I'm not sure if he will or not. So Albert Pujols, he hit his 698 home run against Cincinnati Reds recently. And he's got, I think, 14 or so more games left in the season. Obviously, he won't, he may not play in all those games. But Aaron, I think he's got a good chance to do this. Plus, he has a postseason to hit just 2 more home runs. What a moment that's going to be to join an incredible club of a very short list of baseball players to hit 7 home runs here.
History in the making, potentially. So
it kind of feels like back when we were growing up, when Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were in that home run chase, trying to out-hit each other.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different, but to me, it kind of feels like the anticipation, like every game you want to know, did he hit a home run? Did he hit a home run? So great for baseball, great for the Cardinals, great for Albert, and we're pulling for you.
No doubt.
Well, that wraps up episode 8. Thank you for listening. Next episode 9, we are going to review high school football week 6 and preview week 7. Talk about college football, the NFL, more MLB, Major League Baseball, and update on Albert Pujols' 7 home run chase.
Please subscribe and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. That helps us grow the show. Also, follow The Will and Aaron Show on Facebook, Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube for updates. You can find our podcast links in the show notes. Thanks for listening. Signing off from The Will and Aaron Show.